First of all, let me thank Susie for the invitation and to giving me the possibility to sharing with you my experience. And unfortunately, the task that I had is very heavy. I don't know if I will my best to remain in the time that available. And the third one, please excuse me for my English, not exactly Oxford English, but I try to do my best to let you understand, okay? Agrippa. Agrippa built the first public balneary in Rome before the empire. And after them, all the empires competed to build larger, magnificent, rich. And you can imagine that at the first century after Christ, there was 11 imperial baths, imperial terme, and almost 1,000 private balneary. Terme became a fundamental part of cities' architectural and Roman habit, as well as arena and temple and theater. And Terme represented the core of activity of the Roman cities, the Roman lifestyle, everyday Roman. Roman people went there, went to the spa, went to the thermal once a day, something more than once a day, twice or thrice per day. It has a lot of time because Roman cities didn't work. There was the slave, and then they had all the time available to go to the terme. At the beginning, it was just for a hygienic question, but in the second time, they added a lot of several activity. They spend a lot of time there, more than 5 or 6 hours per day. Roman told that otium. Today has a negative meaning, otium, but at that time, otium, Seneca, you know, Seneca was a writer in the Roman period, Roman time, said that otium was the most important moment for individual life, because in which the individual can look for himself. The entrance of in the thermal was free of charge, as one of the reasons because it was so popular. There was a political reason for that, because for empire, it was necessary to have a social peace. Everything has to be quiet. After fall of Roman Empire, all the magnificent building fell into despair. And the reason why, after the fall of the Roman Empire, changed so much. It changed following the changement of society and the history of people. In the last 1,000 years, the reason why people went to the terme completely changed century by century. During the medieval period, the people went there for the first time for a therapeutic goal. And in the after period, during the Renaissance, with the print discover, they print a lot of books, and these books it's easy to find not just how to use thermal water in a correct and the right protocol, but also how take food, how move, everything that is good. It was good for lifestyle. And you can see as a very little, but I try to translate to you. And a big period, the more important period for a thermal renaissance was Enlightenment in 18th century, when some aristocratic family rebuilt the old structure and realized the new important thermal facilities. At the beginning of the 90, during the Belle Époque, the L'Art Deco is one of the most important tasks for the build of the new thermal facilities. And then after the first World War, began to realize the social thermalism. The government began to start to pay people to go to the thermal spa, to the thermal facilities, especially people that work in the EV industry, the mining, the iron, and so on. And this approach to social thermalism arrived till today, till our days. And everything's felt in crisis when the social thermalism, this kind of thermalism, extreme medical thermalism, met the new paradigm of spa. The concept of spa in Italy, in Europe, comes from USA at the beginning of the 90s. It's not the truth that spa means salus per aquam. Somebody said SPA means salus per aquam. That means health through water. No Roman, no text, no books speak about that. And for the Italian, for the European people, especially for Italian, the appearance of a spa paradigm, it was a very, very strong moment because begin a very important competition with all the terme. Some of the thermal facilities change completely identity to follow this new trend instead of combine the older tradition with the new trend. And till now, at the moment, the problem is the same. The crisis of the thermal field in Italy is deeply step by step. This is the actual situation of thermal facilities in Italy. There are more or less 384 thermal facilities with a high local concentration, especially in Northeast and the South, and high fragmentation. There was a lot of few companies, few facilities, a large number concentrated. A lot of these facilities, they don't have hotel, and they work a lot, especially with local people. One of the most important reasons for this crisis was the permanence of the ownership of government in the largest thermal facilities, Italian largest thermal facilities, that till now are owned by government. They are 17, like Montecatini, Chianciano, what's the name of the Vildo, the water town that had so high evolution at the beginning of the last century. The importance of local healthcare facilities represented by thermal facilities you can see in this slide, because you can imagine that 87% of our thermal facilities are accredited by Health National Service. That means that every citizen, Italian citizen, can do 12 thermal sessions per year, completely paid by government. And this has been one of the most important causes of a crisis, because the thermal facilities, the thermal company, doesn't change the business model. It remains completely covered by government payment. Till now, we have the most part of the terme, even if the terme, also the thermal facilities with the high target have a accreditation with the National Health Service. the evidence of a local, the local clientele that thermal facilities has in Italy, you can see by this data. The 88% of guests are Italian. Only 12 come from the outsider, especially from the North Europe, for the Northeast, to Northeast Italy and South Italy. And another data is very important that show the changement in approach to the thermal care, that now only the 20% of guests go to the thermal facilities in order to take care of health, for healthcare. The other, the most part, 80%, go just for generic well-being or for leisure. And this is typical, unfortunately, of the last two generations, where we can see a little bit of downgrading, cultural downgrading about thermal meanings, because today the most part of the people, they don't make difference between hot water and thermal mineral spring water. Another moment of crisis is the evidence of the average stay of people in thermal facilities. Only 3.2 days average. It's absolutely impossible to propose anything credible, coherent, scientific. People go just for leisure. And this condition does not allow us to propose something credible. Also, this slide is very interesting because show in the orange figure there is a total turnover of thermal facilities. In blue, there is the leisure, hotel, and other aesthetic, global wellness. And so the gap from thermal traditional service and leisure is year by year increase large. And even if the added value this year versus last year is better, is growing, but the company does not invest, because most part of the company are very few little company, and they have no money, they have no mentality, and they have some problem to have access to bank credit. Another big problem of Italian thermalism is a business model. It's too expensive, because a lot of the most part of treatment, the procedure, the service in thermal therapies are one-to-one people. And the cost of employee, cost of the labor in Italy is very high. And combined with the growing of the new company in Europe, especially in East Europe, comparison with the tax that we pay in the net revenue, you can see in Italy is 60%, 62% of net revenue. In comparison with Croatia, for example, is just 20%. It's impossible to maintain this kind of business model. But nothing is lost. There is the changement of the society, the changement of the lifestyle, the changement of style of model consumption, the need of more economical and more appropriate, without side effect therapies, and aging. We think for thermal service, for thermal therapy, is a good opportunity to develop the new business model, integrated the new trend with the traditional. Because at thermal spa there is so much professionality, the multidisciplinarity, and the possibility to combine the thermal water effect with a multidisciplinary approach. This is what to expect us in the next future, the three real challenge of 21st century, what we call the silent epidemics: obesity, non-communicable disease, and aging. Aging is not a disease, but is the most part of NCD, not communicable disease, appear in the third part of the age. NCD today in the world stomach. This morning, some speakers spoke about the NCD, that is a very challenging for the next future. Kill 40 million people per year, and say 68% of that come from, globally that come from NCD, and especially in the low and middle income country. 20% of population spend 80% of resources. We have to invest to intervene at the beginning, in the 8% before, through the preventive healthcare solution, to reduce cost of therapy, to broaden the number of people that have access to the cure, and to improve quality of life and quality of health. Thermal facility, sorry for the slide, is how to break out the 30 years of career. Thermal facility represent today a big possibility to carry out this kind of program, because we can take care of the health of the people through the thermal water therapy, that is a very powerful anti-inflammation effect, and the possibility to do in the week, the people stay average, the lifestyle coach, nutrition, movement, and so on. And another important thing to know about thermal therapy is the powerful of anti-inflammatory effect. All the scientific community, international scientific community, agree that the basis of a lot of disease, especially chronic disease, comes from non-clinical chronic inflammation. And our goal for the early future, for the near future, is to invert the average stay in order to have people that spend at least 1 week, in order to combine a credible and scientific program, in order to prevent, but first of all, to switch off the hyperactive system of inflammation and stress, because stress affects negative way the inflammation system, affecting the 3 more important communication systems that we have: brain and neurologic system, immunitary system, endocrine system. Is the reason why our program is based all on PNEI, psycho, neuro, endocrine immunology, that study the relationship between among these 3 different connecting systems. And we hope the next future will be the present for thermal industry. Thank you very much for your attention.